Hi everyone, and welcome back to Bryan's Business World. We're continuing our series on investing in real estate, and today I'd like to talk to you about non-traditional forms of financing real estate. So the first non-traditional form of financing real estate is something called an owner carry. So what is an owner carry? An owner carry is where the owner of the property transfers title to you, the buyer, and then the now former owner becomes the bank. So you make payments to the former owner as you would a bank or a credit union, and then after you pay that off, you own the property free and clear. So basically the former owner functions as a bank. It can be an effective way of acquiring home ownership or properties where there may not be other options for you. Second method of non-traditional financing, that is called a lease option. So essentially a lease option, and there are many ways to structure this kind of deal, but a lease option is where a tenant pays rent payments, lease payments, for a period of time and accrues a down payment for the purchase of the home during that time, and then is allowed to purchase the home at a set price at a later date. So to make this concrete, let's say someone has a lease option to buy a house and it goes for 5 years. During the 5 years they make the rent payments. A certain percentage of the rent payments are stored up, quote unquote, as the down payment. At the end of the 5th year, they are allowed to purchase the home at a preset price. Now there's a whole variety of different ways lease options can be set up, and there's many different variations of that, from amount down and payments and timing, but that's sort of the gist of it. The third way of non-traditional financing is something called where a group of people buy a property, or a partnership is formed and the partnership buys a property. So what happens in this kind of financing? Say 5 individuals form a partnership, or they become members of a limited liability company, LLC, and the limited partnership or the LLC purchases real estate. So in that scenario, the group of 5 individuals band together under the umbrella of a company and they buy a piece of real estate. And a lot of times those individuals will have contributed some form of capital to make that happen. The fourth type of non-traditional financing are simply non-traditional lenders. There are non-bank and non-bank lenders, non-traditional lenders that do lend money. They lend it for all sorts of things, including real estate transactions. So it may be an option for you. Typically, there's going to be more stringent terms, demanding terms, and potentially higher interest rates for that type of financing. But there's a whole world of non-bank, non-traditional lenders out there that can make real estate purchases happen. Now, a word on credit unions and local or regional banks. Credit unions or local or regional banks can offer almost what I'll call non-traditional lending programs or products that are almost alternative ways of financing. And the reason they can do this is they're small enough to be flexible, and they may want to woo or accommodate certain real estate investors. So please be sure to look at your local credit union or your local or regional banks for something called portfolio loans or portfolio lending. They may be able to offer you what I'm going to call here today non-traditional financing, because it often doesn't really sort of go along with the traditional way of bank or credit union financing, and that may be able to make the purchase of the property happen for you. The next form of non-traditional financing would be bridge loans and or construction loans for flip properties. Now, flipping properties is its own sort of industry and art within real estate investment, and you could have a whole series on that alone. But there are types of financing, both traditional and non-traditional, that go for flipping houses. And a lot of times those are construction loans, or sometimes they call them bridge gap loans. I want to thank you for your time today. There are a lot of variations within all of these different forms of non-traditional financing, but please leave us some feedback below, follow us, and email us. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you.